The massive space station, called Harmony's Edge, floated in the dark space between stars. It was the biggest structure ever built by the combined alien races. Today, it buzzed with worried energy as ships from across the galaxy arrived for an emergency meeting. Ambassador Veltar walked through the curved hallways of the station. His blue skin showed the stress marks that his people got when they were scared. In his 4 hands, he carried data tablets filled with reports that made his stomach feel sick. The reports were about a new species that had appeared from the empty edge of the galaxy. The main meeting room was huge. It could hold representatives from over 50 different alien races. Today, it was full. Veltar looked around at the worried faces. There were the tall, thin Etherians with their glowing eyes. The rock-like granite people sat in their heavy chairs. The floating gas creatures, called whispers, drifted near the ceiling in their special atmosphere bubbles. At the center of the room sat Council Leader Mordex. He was from an ancient race that had seen the rise and fall of many civilizations. His old, wise face looked more troubled than anyone had ever seen it before. "Friends," Mordex said in his deep voice that everyone could understand through their translation devices. "We are here because of reports that cannot be ignored. Ambassador Veltar will tell us what his people have learned." Veltar stood up. His legs felt weak, but he had to share what they knew. 3 months ago, our deep space scouts detected unknown ships in the Outer Rim territories. These ships belonged to a species we had never seen before. They called themselves humans. A worried murmur went through the room. New species were always exciting, but these reports felt different. At first, we were happy, Veltar continued. New friends to join our peaceful galaxy. But then, he paused and looked at his data tablet. Then the reports started coming in. He pressed a button and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed a star map with several systems marked in red. The Kefran Mining Collective was the first to make contact. They sent their usual peaceful greeting ships to the human vessels. The humans. They destroyed everything. Complete destruction. No survivors, no wreckage left behind. The room became very quiet. Even the whispers stopped their soft floating sounds. "We thought it might be a mistake," Veltar said. "Maybe the Kefrans did something wrong. But then the aquatic Neridi tried to make contact. Same result, total destruction. And then the forest people of Verdania. Same thing again." He changed the display to show energy readings. Strange, powerful energy signatures unlike anything they had seen before. Every species that has tried to communicate with these humans has simply vanished. No distress calls, no escape pods, nothing. It is like they were never there at all. An Etherian representative stood up. Her name was Lysandra, and she was known for staying calm in bad situations. "Ambassador Veltar, are you sure these humans are the cause? Could there be some other explanation?" Veltar's stress marks got darker. "We have long-range sensor data. The human ships arrive. Our people try to talk. Then there are massive energy discharges. Then our people are gone, and the humans move on to the next system." "How many?" asked Mordex quietly. "How many what, honored leader? How many of our people have these humans killed?" Veltar looked at his tablet again. His hands were shaking now. 12 different species have tried to make contact. That is over 2 million beings. All gone. The room exploded with shocked voices. Some aliens were angry. Others were scared. The granite people started their low, rumbling war chants. The whispers began to glow bright red, which meant they were terrified. Mordex raised his hand for silence. It took several minutes for the room to quiet down. "What do we know about their ships?" he asked. Veltar brought up new images. They showed dark, massive vessels that looked nothing like the elegant, peaceful ships of the galactic community. "Their ships are built for war," Veltar said. "They are covered in weapons, heavy armor. They are much bigger than our exploration vessels. Our military experts say these ships are designed for one thing only: to destroy other ships." A representative from the Peaceful Harmony Coalition stood up. She was called Bayara, and her people had not fought a war in over 1,000 years. "Maybe we are looking at this wrong," she said hopefully. "Maybe these humans are scared of us. Maybe they think we are the threat. If we approach them correctly, with the right peaceful signals." Veltar shook his head sadly. "Bayara, your people's desire for peace is beautiful. But we tried that. The Narration sent their most skilled diplomats. They used every peaceful greeting protocol we know. The humans destroyed them before they could even finish sending their friendship message." "Then what do you suggest?" asked Mordex. The room waited for Veltar's answer. Everyone knew that what they decided today would change the galaxy forever. "We have two choices," Veltar said slowly. "We can try one more time to make peaceful contact. Send our best diplomats with our most advanced peaceful technology. Make it very clear that we want to be friends." "And the other choice?" asked a granite person in his deep, rocky voice. Veltar's stress marks covered his entire body now. "We treat them as what they appear to be. A species that destroys everyone they meet. We gather our combined fleets and stop them before they can kill more of our people." The room became quiet again. Everyone understood what this meant. The galaxy had been peaceful for so long that most species had forgotten how to fight real wars. But if these humans were as dangerous as the reports said, they might have no choice. Mordex stood up slowly. His old bones made soft, creaking sounds. "I have lived for over 800 years, he said. "I have seen the galaxy grow from a place of war and fear to a place of peace and friendship. I had hoped to die knowing that peace would continue forever." He looked around the room at all the different species who had learned to live together. "But I will not let a species of killers destroy everything we have built. We will try peaceful contact one more time, but we will also prepare for war." He paused and his voice became harder. "If these humans want to be monsters, then they will. Learn that this galaxy has monsters of its own when it needs them." The meeting continued for many hours. They planned who would attempt the peaceful contact. They discussed which ships to send and what peaceful signals to use. They also began the terrible work of planning for war. As the representatives left to return to their homeworlds, Veltar stood alone in the empty meeting room. He looked out through the great window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the humans were moving through space, leaving empty systems behind them. He wondered if this would be the end of the peaceful galaxy they had all worked so hard to build. He wondered if the humans were truly monsters, or if they were something else entirely. But mostly, he wondered if anyone would survive long enough to find out the truth. The emergency session was over. Now the real work would begin. The galaxy would either find peace with the humans, or it would learn to fight again after centuries of harmony. Either way, nothing would ever be the same. Admiral Li Kang stood on the bridge of the EDF Indomitable, the largest ship in the Earth Defense Force fleet. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the gentle beeping of monitoring systems. Through the main view screen, He could see the stars that humanity had been exploring for the past 2 years. Kang was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been in the military for 30 years, but he had never expected to become the leader of humanity's expansion into space. When Earth's scientists finally cracked faster-than-light travel, everyone thought they would find friends among the stars. Instead, they found only enemies. "Admiral," said Commander Park Hana as she approached with a data tablet. She was his most trusted officer, a smart woman who always stayed calm even in the worst situations. "The final report from the Narration operation is ready." Kang took the tablet and read through it slowly. The report told the same sad story he had read too many times before. The Narration Collective had been an aquatic species living on 12 water worlds. When human scouts found them, Earth had tried to make peaceful contact. The Narration response was immediate and violent. They launched hundreds of ships at the human exploration vessel before any communication could be established. The human ship, following standard defensive protocols, had defended itself. In less than an hour, the entire Narration military was gone. "Any survivors?" Kang asked, though he already knew the answer. "No, sir," Park Hana replied quietly. "Their ships were not built for space combat. When they opened fire on our vessel, the return fire was overwhelming for their technology level." Kang closed his eyes. Another species that chose to shoot first and ask questions never. Another civilization that Earth had been forced to destroy in self-defense. "What about their civilian populations?" he asked. "Safe, sir. As always, we followed Protocol 7. Military targets only. The civilian populations were left unharmed on their worlds. We sent the standard message explaining that Earth wants peace and that we only respond to aggression." Captain Yoon Ji-won looked up from the communications station. She was a young officer who specialized in alien languages and had helped create most of Earth's peaceful contact protocols. "Admiral, we detected several escape pods that got away during the fighting. They will probably report back to whoever these Narration were allied with." Kang nodded sadly. More reports about the terrible humans who destroy everything they touch. He walked to the main view screen and looked out at the stars. Earth had been exploring space for 2 years now, and every single species they encountered reacted the same way. The moment alien sensors detected human ships, the aliens opened fire. "Jawan," he said, "play back the initial contact attempt with the Narration." The bridge speakers came alive with the recording. First, there was the sound of Captain Kim Seojin trying to make peaceful contact. "Unknown vessels. This is Captain Kim Seojin of the Earth vessel Harmony. We come in peace and wish to establish friendly relations with your people. Please respond on any frequency." Then came the alien response. Immediate weapons fire. Dozens of energy blasts striking the Harmony's shields while Captain Kim continued trying to talk. "We do not wish to fight. Please cease fire and allow us to communicate. Earth wants to be friends with your people." More weapons fire, then the sound of the Harmony's defensive systems coming online. "All ships, this is Captain Kim. We are under attack by unknown hostile forces, implementing Protocol 7. Military targets only. Repeat, civilian populations are to be left unharmed." The recording ended with the sound of human weapons destroying the Narration fleet. "Turn it off," Kang said quietly. The bridge was silent for a moment. Everyone had heard recordings like this many times. Every first contact went exactly the same way. Commander Park Hana came to stand beside the Admiral. "Sir, do you think we are doing something wrong? Something that makes them attack us?" Kang had thought about this question every day for 2 years. We follow every peaceful contact protocol that Earth's best diplomats created. We announce ourselves clearly. We state our peaceful intentions. We offer gifts and friendship. And every single time they open fire before we can even finish talking. Maybe our ships look threatening to them, suggested Captain Yoon. Maybe, Kang agreed. Earth built our ships for defense because space is dangerous. Heavy armor, strong shields, powerful weapons for protection, but we always approach with weapons powered down and shields at minimum. He turned to face his officers. The problem is not what we do. The problem is what they think we are. What do you mean, sir? Asked Park Hana. Think about it. These alien species have probably been peaceful for centuries. They build beautiful, delicate ships for exploration and trade. Then they see our ships, dark, heavy, covered in weapons, and they panic. They think we are some kind of military invasion force. Captain Yoon pulled up displays showing human ship designs next to captured images of alien vessels. The difference was striking. Human ships looked like floating fortresses. Alien ships looked like elegant art pieces. So they attack us because they are afraid, she said. Exactly. And when they attack us, we defend ourselves, but our defensive capabilities are so much stronger than their offensive capabilities that we accidentally destroy them completely. Kang walked to his command chair and sat down heavily. The weight of command felt heavier every day. Admiral, said Park Hana carefully, the crew has been talking. Some of them are starting to wonder if we should change our approach. What kind of changes? Maybe we should build different ships for first contact. Ships that look peaceful and non-threatening. Or maybe we should try communicating from much farther away. Kang considered this. Commander, we have tried everything. Long-range communication, gift packages sent ahead of our ships, even sending mathematical equations to prove we are intelligent and peaceful. Nothing works. The moment they detect us, they attack. A new voice joined the conversation. Lieutenant Song Junho from the sensor station had been listening quietly. Sir, I have been studying the pattern of alien responses. I think I know why they always attack us immediately. Explain, Kang said. Every species we have encountered has the same reaction time. Approximately 12 to 15 minutes from first detection to weapons fire. That is just enough time for them to scan our ships and send a message to their leadership asking for instructions. And the instructions are always the same, Park Hana realized. Destroy the humans, which means, Song continued, that these species already know about us. Someone is telling them that humans are dangerous and should be killed on sight. The bridge became very quiet as everyone thought about what this meant. You are saying there is some kind of galactic communication network? Kang asked. Species are sharing information about us? It is the only explanation that makes sense, Song replied. Think about it. We encounter a new species every few weeks. Different star systems, different technology levels, sometimes hundreds of light years apart. But they all react exactly the same way. Kang felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Someone is spreading stories about us, making us sound like monsters. And every time we defend ourselves, we prove their stories true, added Yoon sadly. The Admiral stood up and walked to the view screen again. He thought about all the species Earth had been forced to fight, the plant-like Verdanians who attacked with thorn ships, the crystal beings who tried to shatter human vessels with sonic weapons, the machine intelligence that sent wave after wave of robot fighters. All of them had died because they chose to fight instead of talk. And each time, Earth sent out the same message afterward. We wanted to be friends. We only fought because you attacked us first. But who would believe that? Message now? Sir, said Parkhana quietly. What are your orders? Kang thought for a long moment. Earth needed to expand into space. The home planet was getting crowded and resources were running low, but they could not continue to accidentally destroy every species they met. Send a message to Earth Command, he said finally. Tell them we need to try a different approach. Maybe it is time to make contact with whoever is in charge of this galactic community. And if they attack us too? Asked Yun Kong, looked out at the stars and wondered how many species out there had been told that humans were monsters. How many civilizations were preparing for war against Earth right now? Then we will do what we always do, he said sadly. We will defend ourselves, and we will hope that someday someone will be willing to listen before they shoot. The bridge returned to its quiet routine, but everyone was thinking the same thing. Humanity had come to the stars looking for friends. Instead, they had become the monsters that every species feared. And the worst part was, they had no idea how to stop being monsters in the eyes of the galaxy. Deep in space, far from any star or planet, the monitoring station Watchtower 7 drifted silently through the darkness. It was one of Earth's most advanced listening posts, designed to intercept and decode alien communications from across the galaxy. Lieutenant Kim Minho sat at his workstation, surrounded by screens showing wave patterns, frequency analyses, and translation matrices. He had been working as a cryptographer for 3 years, ever since graduating from Seoul National University with degrees in mathematics and xenolinguistics. His job was to listen to the galaxy and try to understand what the aliens were saying about humanity. Most days, his work was routine. He would capture random alien broadcasts, run them through the translation computers, and file reports about trade negotiations or weather updates on distant worlds. But today was different. Today, he had intercepted something that made his hands shake as he worked. Commander O'Hieri, he called to the station's commanding officer. You need to see this immediately. Commander O came over to his station. She was a veteran officer who had served on monitoring stations for over 10 years. She had seen Kim decode thousands of alien messages, but she had never heard such urgency in his voice. What do you have, Lieutenant? She asked. Kim pointed to his main screen, which showed a complex waveform pattern. I picked up this transmission about 6 hours ago. It is highly encrypted and was being broadcast on multiple frequencies simultaneously. Someone wanted to make sure it reached a lot of different species. Any idea who sent it? The transmission signature matches what we know about the Galactic Council's communication protocols. This is an official message from whoever runs the alien government structure. O leaned closer to look at the data. Were you able to decode it? Kim nodded grimly. It took me 5 hours, but I cracked their encryption. Commander, this message is about us, about humanity. He pressed a button, and the decoded text appeared on the screen. Oh, read it silently, her face growing more worried with each line. Are you sure this translation is correct? She asked. I ran it through 3 different translation matrices and had the AI verify the results. This is what they are saying about us. The message was from someone called Council Leader Mordex to all member species of something called the Galactic Council. It read, Emergency alert to all member species. The human plague continues to spread through Outer Rim territories. Latest. Intelligence confirms the complete destruction of the Narration Collective. Military analysis attached. All species are advised to avoid human-occupied systems until the Council decides on appropriate action. Diplomatic contact attempt is being prepared. If unsuccessful, military intervention may be necessary to protect galactic civilization. O sat down heavily in a nearby chair. They are calling us a plague. Kim brought up additional files that had been attached to the message. It gets worse, Commander. Look at their military analysis of our ships. The analysis described human vessels as terror weapons disguised as starships. It claimed that human technology was impossibly destructive, and that human tactics were designed for maximum psychological impact on enemy forces. Listen to this part, Kim said, reading from the screen. Human vessels appear to be mobile weapons platforms with no apparent purpose other than the complete annihilation of opposition forces. Their use of kinetic bombardment and directed energy weapons suggests a species that has evolved specifically for interstellar warfare. Oh shook her head in disbelief. They think we are some kind of warrior race that exists only to fight wars. There is more, Kim continued. They have detailed reports from all the species we have encountered, but look at how they describe what happened. He pulled up a section about the Kefran mining collective. According to the alien report, humans had materialized without warning in Kefran space, and immediately began systematically destroying all Kefran assets with ruthless efficiency. That is not what happened, O said angrily. The Kefrans attacked our exploration ship the moment they detected it. We tried to communicate for over an hour before defending ourselves. I know, Kim replied. But that is not how the survivors reported it. Or maybe that is not how the Council interpreted the reports. He showed her more examples. Every encounter between humans and aliens was described as an unprovoked human attack. There was no mention of aliens firing first, no mention of human attempts at peaceful communication. According to these reports, humans simply appeared and started destroying everything they could find. They are making us sound like space pirates, O said. Worse than pirates. Pirates usually want something valuable. According to these reports, humans destroy everything and take nothing. They make us sound like a species that kills for pleasure. Pulled up another section of the intelligence report. This one made both officers feel sick to their stomachs. Estimated human military capabilities, Kim read aloud. Based on observed combat performance, human vessels appear to be capable of destroying entire planetary defense fleets with minimal effort. Recommendation: do not engage human forces under any circumstances unless overwhelming numerical superiority can be achieved. O stood up and began pacing around the small station. Kim, how many species do you think received this message? Kim checked the transmission data. Based on the frequency spread and power level, I would estimate several hundred different civilizations, maybe more. So now hundreds of alien species think humanity is some kind of unstoppable military force that destroys everything it encounters. Yes, Commander. And there is something else. Kim brought up the final section of the message. They are planning to make official contact with us. The message described a diplomatic mission being organized by the Galactic Council. A fleet of ships from multiple species would attempt to establish communication with humanity and negotiate some kind of peace agreement. At least they want to talk, O said hopefully. Kim looked worried. Commander, read the rest of it. Look at what kind of ships they are sending. O read the details and her face went pale. The diplomatic fleet would include vessels from 7 different species, all of them armed with defensive weapon systems and protected by military escort protocols. They are sending warships, she realized. They say it is for defense, but think about how this will look to our people. A fleet of unknown alien vessels approaching Earth space. Our military will assume it is an invasion force. O sat down again and put her head in her hands. This is going to be a disaster. They think we are monsters, so they are bringing weapons to talk to us. When our people see their weapons, we will think they are here to attack us. Should we send a warning to Earth Command? Kim asked. Absolutely. But I do not think it will matter. Both sides are expecting the other to be hostile. Both sides are bringing weapons just in case, and both sides are already convinced that the other side cannot be trusted. Kim continued reading through the alien intelligence reports. Commander, there is something else here that bothers me. Look at their analysis of our technology. He showed her a section that described human disintegration weapons and reality-warping defensive systems. What are they talking about? Oh, asked. I think they are describing our standard military equipment, but they do not understand how it works. To them, our plasma cannons look like weapons that erase matter from existence. Our energy shields look like technology that bends the laws of physics. So they are not just afraid of our intentions. They are afraid of our technology itself. Exactly. From their perspective, we have impossible weapons and we use them to kill anyone we meet. We are not just enemies to them. We are something beyond their understanding. O walked to the station's small observation window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, hundreds of alien civilizations were preparing to either fight humanity or be destroyed by it. And somewhere else, Earth's military was preparing to defend human space against any threats. Kim, send everything we have learned to Earth Command immediately. Mark it as Priority Alpha Emergency Classification. Yes, Commander. Should I include recommendations? Oh, thought for a moment. Tell them that the galaxy already thinks we are monsters. Tell them that a diplomatic fleet is coming, but it will look like an invasion force. And tell them... She paused, trying to think of something that might prevent the disaster she could see coming. Tell them that both sides want peace, but both sides are too afraid to trust each other. Maybe if Earth Command knows what the aliens are thinking, they can find a way to break this cycle. Kim began transmitting the report to Earth. As he worked, he thought about all the alien species that would probably die in the coming conflict. Species that were afraid of humans because of stories and reports that painted humanity as unstoppable killers. Commander, he said quietly, do you think there is any chance this diplomatic contact will actually work? O continued looking out at the stars. I hope so, Kim. Because if it does not work, the galaxy is about to learn that sometimes the monsters you fear are the ones you create yourself. The transmission to Earth Command went out at faster-than-light speed, carrying warnings about the diplomatic fleet and the galaxy's fear of humanity. But both officers wondered if the warning would arrive in time to prevent another tragic misunderstanding. In the depths of space, two civilizations were preparing to... In the grand halls of the Lumerian Republic's capital city, Ambassador Zin-Ara stood before the Council of Wisdom, accepting the most important assignment of her long career. The Lumerians were known throughout the galaxy as the greatest diplomats and peacemakers. For over 500 cycles, they had successfully negotiated peace between warring species and had never failed to find a diplomatic solution to any conflict. Zin-Ara was considered the best of the best. She was tall and graceful, with the silver skin and glowing eyes that marked her as one of the ancient Lumerian noble houses. She had spent her life studying different alien cultures and learning how to communicate with species that thought in completely different ways. Ambassador, said Elder Corthana, the head of the council, we are giving you this mission because we believe that if anyone can make peace with these humans, it is you. But we must be honest. This will be the most dangerous diplomatic mission anyone has ever attempted. Zinara bowed respectfully. Honored Elder, I have read all the reports about the humans. I understand the risks, but I also believe that every intelligent species can be reached through proper communication and understanding. The reports make them sound like demons, said another council member. Species that exist only to destroy others. With respect, honored ones, I do not believe that is possible. No species evolves to become purely destructive. There must be reasons for their behavior. Perhaps they are afraid. Perhaps they have been hurt by other species in the past. Perhaps they simply do not understand our peaceful intentions. Elder Corthana nodded slowly. This is why we chose you, Zinara. You always look for the good in others, even when others see only evil. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, a very different kind of preparation was taking place. In the military shipyards orbiting Earth, Admiral Li Kang stood on the observation deck watching the final preparations of the EDF Terminus. The Terminus was humanity's most advanced ship, but it had not been built for war. It was designed as a deep space exploration vessel and mobile command center. Its massive size was needed to hold all the scientific equipment, communication systems, and life support needed for long-range missions. Captain Choi Dae-hyun walked up to join the Admiral. He was a calm, thoughtful man who had been chosen to command the Terminus because of his reputation for careful decision-making and peaceful problem-solving. Admiral, the ship is ready for the diplomatic mission, Choi reported. All defensive systems are working properly, and the communication arrays are operating at full capacity. Kang nodded but looked worried. Captain, I want you to understand something very important. The aliens we are going to meet are probably terrified of us. Every report we have received suggests that the galaxy thinks we are some kind of unstoppable military force. Sir, should we consider using a smaller, less threatening ship for this contact? The Terminus has the most advanced communication systems in the fleet. If we are going to have any chance of successful communication with multiple alien species at the same time, we need those systems. Besides, our intelligence suggests they are bringing a fleet of ships. We need to show that humanity is strong enough to defend itself, but wise enough to choose peace. In the Terminus's diplomatic section, Chief Diplomat Han Minji was reviewing the contact protocols one final time. She was Earth's leading expert on alien psychology and had helped design the peaceful contact procedures that humanity used for first contact situations. Captain Choi, she said as he entered the diplomatic section, I have been thinking about our approach. Based on what we know about galactic civilization, these aliens probably communicate very differently than we do. What do you mean? Most of the species we have encountered seem to use elaborate formal protocols when they communicate with each other. Long ceremonial greetings, complex gift exchanges, detailed status declarations. We tend to be more direct and practical in our communication style. Choi sat down across from her. Are you suggesting we change our approach? I think we should be prepared to spend a lot of time on formal diplomatic rituals. Even if it seems unnecessary to us, it might be very important to them. These aliens have apparently been peaceful for centuries. They probably have very sophisticated ways of establishing trust and showing respect. Back in Lumarian space, Ambassador Zinara was meeting with the commanders of the other ships that would join the diplomatic mission. The fleet would include representatives from 7 different species, each chosen for their expertise in peaceful communication. Captain Veltran of the Etherian lightship Harmony was an expert in energy-based communication methods. Commander Brixara of the crystalline ship Resonance specialized in mathematical and musical languages. The other ships each brought their own unique skills and perspectives. "Ambassador," said Captain Veltran, "I must ask about the escort protocols. The Council has insisted that we bring defensive weapons, but I am concerned this might send the wrong message to the humans." Zinara had been worried about the same thing. "I understand the Council's concern. If the humans are as dangerous as the reports suggest, we need to be able to defend ourselves. But I agree that weapons might make them think we are planning to attack them." "What do you suggest?" asked Commander Brixera. "We will keep our weapons powered down and our shields at minimum levels when we approach the meeting point. We will make it very clear through our positioning and behavior that we are here for peaceful communication only." On Earth, the final preparations were being completed. Admiral Kang met with Captain Choi and Chief Diplomat Han one last time before the terminus departed. "Remember," Kang said, "these aliens have been told that we are monsters. They are probably expecting us to attack them the moment we see them. We need to be very careful about how we present ourselves." "Should we approach with weapons powered down?" asked Choi. "Standard defensive protocols only. Keep the weapons ready but not targeted. Shields at normal operational levels. We want to show that we are prepared to defend ourselves if necessary, but that we are not planning to attack anyone." Han Minji added, "I will begin transmitting our peaceful intentions as soon as we arrive at the meeting point. Multiple languages, multiple frequencies, every communication method we know. I want to make absolutely sure they understand that we want to talk, not fight." The next day, both fleets departed for the neutral meeting point that had been agreed upon through long-range communications. The location was in empty space, far from any star system or inhabited world, where no one could claim territorial advantage. As the terminus traveled through hyperspace toward the meeting point, Captain Choi stood on the bridge reviewing the mission parameters one more time. His crew had been briefed extensively on the importance of avoiding any actions that could be interpreted as hostile. "Captain," said his weapons officer, Lieutenant Park Dong-yun, "what are our rules of engagement if the aliens open fire on us?" "Standard defensive protocols," Choi replied. "Protect the ship and crew, but use minimum necessary force. These aliens are probably afraid of us. If we respond to their fear with overwhelming violence, we will just prove that their fears were justified." At the same time, Ambassador Zinara was giving similar instructions to her fleet. "Remember, these humans may react aggressively if they feel threatened. Do not take defensive actions unless absolutely necessary. Try to de-escalate any tense situations through communication rather than force." Both fleets were now racing toward the same point in space, each carrying the hopes of their respective civilizations. The humans wanted to prove that they were not the monsters the galaxy believed them to be. The aliens wanted to establish peace with a species that seemed impossibly dangerous. Neither side knew that the other was planning exactly the same thing. Approach peacefully, communicate clearly, and avoid any actions that could lead to violence. But both sides were also prepared for the possibility that diplomacy might fail. The alien fleet carried enough firepower to defend themselves against what they believed was a species of unstoppable warriors. The human ship carried enough firepower to defend itself against what appeared to be a potential invasion force. As both fleets neared the meeting point, everyone involved hoped that wisdom and peaceful intentions would be enough to overcome fear and misunderstanding. They were about to discover that sometimes, even when both sides want peace, the fear of war can make war inevitable. The empty space of the Epsilon Drift had never seen anything like what was happening today. Two fleets from different sides of the galaxy approached the same coordinates, each carrying the hopes and fears of their entire civilizations. Ambassador, Zinara stood on the bridge of the Lumerian flagship Peaceful Dawn, watching her sensors as 7 alien ships moved into formation. Each vessel represented a different member species of the Galactic Council, and each had been chosen for its diplomatic rather than military capabilities. The Etherian ship Harmony glowed with soft blue light, its crystalline hull designed for energy-based communication. The Aquatic Federation's vessel. Deep Current looked like a flowing sculpture of living water. The Forest People's ship. Living Branch appeared to be grown, rather than built, its organic curves covered with what looked like bark and leaves. All ships report ready for peaceful contact protocols, announced Captain Veltran from the Harmony. Zinara nodded, but she felt nervous tension throughout her body. In all her years of diplomatic service, she had never attempted to make contact with a species that had such a terrifying reputation. Maintain formation and keep all weapons powered down, she instructed. Remember, we are here to show these humans that the galaxy wants peace, not war. At the same time, the EDF terminus dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the designated meeting zone. Captain Choi Dae-hyun immediately ordered a full sensor sweep of the area. Contact, reported his sensor officer, Lieutenant Song Jun-ho. 7 vessels in standard diplomatic formation, approximately 50,000 kilometers from our position. Choi studied the sensor readings on his main screen. The alien ships were much smaller than the terminus, and their designs were completely unlike anything in Earth's databases. They looked more like works of art than military vessels. Chief Diplomat Han, he called to his diplomatic officer. Are you ready to begin contact protocols? Han Minji nodded from her position at the communications station. All languages loaded, multiple frequency ranges prepared. I am ready to transmit our peaceful intentions on your command. Begin transmission, Choi ordered. Across the empty space between the fleets, Han's carefully prepared message began broadcasting on dozens of different frequencies. Unknown vessels, this is Captain Choi Dae-hyun of the Earth Defense Force ship. Terminus. We have come here in response to your request for diplomatic contact. Earth wishes to establish peaceful relations with your civilizations. We are prepared to discuss mutual cooperation and friendship. Please respond on any frequency. On the Peaceful Dawn, Ambassador Zinara listened to the translation of the human message with growing hope. The words sounded sincere and peaceful. Maybe the reports about human aggression had been wrong. Respond immediately, she instructed her communications officer. Tell them we are honored to meet representatives of humanity and that we come in the spirit of galactic friendship. The alien response reached the terminus within seconds. Human Vessel Terminus. This is Ambassador Zinara of the Lumerian Republic, speaking for the Galactic Council. We welcome this opportunity for peaceful contact between our civilizations. We hope this meeting will begin a new era of cooperation and understanding. Captain Choi felt a wave of relief wash over him. Finally, aliens who wanted to talk instead of fight. Excellent, he said to his bridge crew. Chief Diplomat Han proposed standard diplomatic protocols for the actual meeting. But even as both sides began discussing the details of how to conduct their historic meeting, subtle misunderstandings were already building toward disaster. On D, the alien ship's tactical officers were monitoring the human vessel with growing alarm. The terminus was massive, larger than some space stations in Galactic Council territory. Its hull was covered with what appeared to be weapon ports and armor plating. To aliens accustomed to elegant, peaceful exploration vessels, the human ship looked like a mobile fortress. Ambassador, reported the tactical officer on the Peaceful Dawn, I am reading enormous energy signatures from the human vessel. Their power output is 10 times greater than our entire fleet combined. Zin-Ara tried to stay calm. Perhaps they need that much power for their long-range exploration missions. Remember, these humans come from the far edge of the galaxy. They may need different technology for their journeys. But privately, she was beginning to understand why other species had been afraid of humanity. The Terminus did not look like any diplomatic vessel she had ever seen. On the Terminus, similar concerns were building. Lieutenant Song was analyzing the alien fleet formation and reporting his findings to Captain Choi. "Sir, the alien vessels are maintaining what appears to be a defensive formation. They have positioned their larger ships to protect their smaller vessels, and I am detecting active scanning from multiple ships." "Are their weapons powered?" Choi asked. "Minimal power signatures on what appear to be defensive systems. But, sir, I am also detecting that they have established targeting locks on our position." Choi frowned. The aliens claimed to want peaceful contact, but they were treating the Terminus as a potential threat. "Are they maintaining safe distance?" he asked. 50,000 kilometers in holding position. That is standard diplomatic distance, but it is also optimal firing range for most known energy weapons. Chief Diplomat Han looked up from her communication station. "Captain, should I ask them about their targeting locks?" "Not yet. Maybe it is standard procedure for them. We do not want to seem suspicious or aggressive." But Choi quietly ordered his defensive systems to be prepared for activation. Not powered up, just ready to respond if necessary. The communication between the fleets continued for several minutes, with both sides discussing how to conduct a formal diplomatic meeting. The aliens proposed that small shuttles from each fleet meet at a point halfway between the main vessels. The humans agreed, and both sides began preparing their diplomatic teams. However, the tension continued to build as each side monitored the other's activities. On the alien flagship, sensors detected the Terminus launching what appeared to be small attack craft. "Ambassador," the tactical officer reported urgently, "the humans are launching ships toward our position." Zin-Ara checked her displays. "Those are diplomatic shuttles, as we agreed. Stay calm." "But Ambassador, look at the design of those shuttles. They are heavily armored and appear to be armed." Zin-Ara studied the sensor readings. The human shuttles did look very different from the elegant, unarmed diplomatic craft that Galactic Council species typically used. They looked more like small military vessels. "Perhaps humans design all their spacecraft for durability," she said, trying to convince herself as much as her crew. "Space travel may be more dangerous in their part of the galaxy." At the same time, the Terminus was detecting the launch of alien shuttles that immediately began radiating unusual energy signatures. "Captain," Song reported, "the alien shuttles appear to be equipped with some kind of advanced sensor systems. They are conducting very detailed scans of our ship as they approach." "Could those sensors be weapons?" asked Lieutenant Park, the weapons officer. "Unknown, sir. The energy patterns are unlike anything in our databases." Captain Choi made a difficult decision. "Raise shields to minimum defensive levels. I want to protect our shuttles if those alien sensors turn out to be weapons." The moment the Terminus raised its shields, every alien ship in the diplomatic fleet detected the massive energy surge. "Alert status," called the tactical officer on the peaceful dawn. "The human ship has just activated some kind of energy field around itself." Ambassador Zin-Ara felt her heart sink. "Are they preparing to attack?" "Unknown. But the energy output suggests they have much more powerful defensive systems than any of our ships." Across the alien fleet, similar reports were coming in. The human ship had suddenly become much more threatening, and no one knew why. On the Terminus, Chief Diplomat, Han was preparing for the shuttle meeting when she noticed increased alien communication traffic. Captain, I am picking up a lot of chatter between the alien ships. They seem agitated about something. Can you understand what they are saying? Only fragments. But they keep mentioning our ship and using words that translate to threat and danger. Captain Choi realized that something had gone wrong, but he did not know what. Both fleets were still talking about peaceful contact, but the tension in the communications was becoming obvious. Han, ask them directly if there is a problem. Han transmitted the question, and Ambassador Zin Ara responded immediately. Her reply was polite, but clearly strained. There is no problem, Captain Choi. We are simply impressed by the advanced capabilities of your vessel. Both sides continued preparing for the diplomatic meeting, but now everyone was watching everyone else for signs of hostile intentions. The aliens were afraid of the human ship's obvious military capabilities. The humans were confused by the aliens' sudden change in behavior. Neither side wanted to be the first to call off the meeting, but both sides were beginning to think that maybe the stories they had heard about the other side were true after all. The diplomatic shuttles continued toward each other through the empty space between the fleets, carrying representatives who hoped to make history. But behind them, the main fleets were quietly preparing for the possibility that diplomacy was about to fail. In the depths of space, two civilizations that both wanted. The tension in space was thick enough to cut as the diplomatic shuttles from both fleets moved slowly toward each other. On board the Terminus, Technical Officer Song Junho monitored every aspect of the alien vessel's movements and energy signatures. Captain, Song reported, his voice tight with concentration. I am detecting multiple targeting systems from the alien fleet. All 7 ships now have active locks on our position. Captain Choi De-hyun felt his stomach clench. The aliens claimed to want peaceful contact, but their actions suggested they were preparing for battle. Are you certain those are weapons locks? He asked. The energy patterns match known targeting systems, sir. They are definitely tracking our ship for potential engagement. Lieutenant Park Dong-hyun at the weapons station looked up from his console. Captain, should I activate our own targeting systems? Standard defensive protocols suggest we should be ready to return fire if attacked. Choi thought carefully before answering. If he activated targeting systems, the aliens would detect it immediately and might interpret it as preparation for attack. But if he did not prepare defenses and the aliens did attack, his ship and crew would be vulnerable. Passive targeting only, he decided. I want our systems ready to respond, but do not actively lock onto their ships. We do not want to escalate this situation. On the bridge of the Peaceful Dawn, Ambassador Zin Ara was dealing with similar pressures from her own crew. Captain Veltran from the Etherian ship Harmony was transmitting urgent warnings about the human vessel's behavior. Ambassador, the human ship's energy output has increased by another 20%. They appear to be charging some kind of massive weapons array. Zinara checked her own displays. The human ship was indeed radiating enormous amounts of energy, far more than any peaceful exploration vessel should need. Maybe they are just powering their communication systems for the diplomatic meeting, she said hopefully. Her tactical officer shook his head. Ambassador, with respect, those energy levels could power a small city. No communication system needs that much power. From the bridge of the Forest People's ship, Living Branch, came another worried transmission. Peaceful Dawn. We are detecting what appears to be multiple weapon charging cycles from the human vessel. Recommend we withdraw to safer distance. Hold position, Zin Ara commanded, though her own confidence was beginning to waver. We came here for peaceful contact. We will not abandon this mission because we are afraid. But privately she was. starting to think that maybe the reports about human aggression had been accurate after all. The diplomatic shuttles were now only minutes away from their meeting point. Chief Diplomat Han Minji continued her preparations for what she hoped would be humanity's first successful peaceful contact with galactic civilization. "Captain," she said to Choi, "I am preparing several different greeting protocols. If we can just get through the initial contact without any misunderstandings, I think we can establish real communication." "What kind of protocols?" Choi asked. "Mathematical sequences to prove intelligence, artistic patterns to show creativity, and historical summaries to demonstrate that humanity values peace and knowledge." It was a good plan, but it was based on the assumption that both sides would remain calm long enough for real communication to begin. On the alien fleet, that assumption was beginning to break down. Commander Brixara of the crystalline ship Resonance transmitted an urgent message to all ships. "All vessels, I am detecting massive energy buildups in the human ship's power core. They appear to be preparing some kind of devastating attack." Ambassador Zinara tried to maintain diplomatic calm. "Commander, they may simply be powering up systems for the meeting. We should not jump to conclusions." "Ambassador," came a transmission from the deep current. "Our sensors indicate that the human ship has enough firepower to destroy our entire fleet. If they are planning to attack us, we need to take defensive action immediately." The fear was spreading through the alien fleet like a virus. Each ship's crew had read the reports about human military capabilities. They knew that every species that had encountered humans had been completely destroyed. Now they were face to face with a human warship that seemed to be preparing for battle. "All ships, activate defensive systems," Zinara ordered reluctantly. "Maintain formation, but be prepared to take evasive action if the humans attack." The moment the alien ships activated their defensive systems, every sensor on the terminus detected the change. Energy shields flickered to life around the alien vessels. Weapon systems that had been dormant suddenly showed power signatures. "Captain!" Song called urgently. "All alien ships have just activated their defensive systems. They are powering up what appear to be energy weapons." Captain Choi felt the situation slipping away from him. The aliens were clearly preparing for battle, but he still did not understand why. "Han, send an immediate message asking about their change in status." Han quickly transmitted. "Alien fleet, this is the terminus. We have detected activation of your defensive systems. Is there a problem? We are still committed to peaceful dialogue." Ambassador Zinara received the message and tried to craft a response that would not escalate the situation further. "Human vessel terminus, we have activated standard defensive protocols for diplomatic meetings with unknown species. There is no cause for concern." But her message only made things worse. To human ears, standard defensive protocols sounded like, "We always bring weapons to diplomatic meetings," which suggested that these aliens were not as peaceful as they claimed to be. "Captain," Lieutenant Park reported, "if they consider weapons standard for diplomatic meetings, they may be planning to attack us under the cover of negotiation." The misunderstandings were building on top of each other like a house of cards. In an earthquake. Both sides wanted peace, but both sides were interpreting the other's defensive preparations as signs of hostile intent. Technical Officer Song detected another change in the alien fleet's formation. "Sir, the alien ships are beginning to spread out. They appear to be moving into an attack formation." What Song was actually detecting was the alien fleet's attempt to take defensive positions that would allow them to escape quickly if the human ship attacked. But to human sensors, it looked like the aliens were positioning themselves for a coordinated assault on the terminus. All stop on the shuttles, Captain Choi ordered. Bring our diplomatic team back immediately. Sir? Chief Diplomat Han asked in confusion. The aliens are moving into attack formation while pretending to want peaceful contact. This may be some kind of trap. On the alien flagship, sensors detected the human shuttles changing course and returning to their mothership. Ambassador, the tactical officer reported, the humans are recalling their diplomatic shuttles. They are also increasing power to their defensive systems. Ambassador Zinara felt her last hopes for peaceful contact beginning to die. Are they preparing to attack us? It appears so, Ambassador. Recommend we withdraw while we still can. But Zinara was not ready to give up. Open a direct communication channel to the human captain. I will speak to him personally. Her transmission reached Captain Choi within seconds. Captain Choi, this is Ambassador Zinara. I sense that there has been some misunderstanding between our peoples. Can we discuss whatever concerns you may have? Choi appreciated the ambassador's attempt at direct communication, but he was now convinced that the aliens were preparing to attack his ship. Ambassador Zinara, my sensors indicate that your fleet has moved into attack formation and powered up weapon systems while claiming to want peaceful contact. Please explain your intentions. Zinara felt confused and frustrated. Captain Choi, we have only activated standard defensive systems. Your vessel appears to be preparing for battle, and we are concerned for our safety. Our defensive systems are only responding to your threatening behavior, Choi replied. We came here hoping for peaceful contact, but you have shown us weapons instead of friendship. Both commanders were now talking past each other, each convinced that the other side was planning to attack. The communication continued for several more minutes, but instead of reducing tensions, it only made both sides more suspicious. Finally, the situation reached a breaking point when the alien fleet made what they intended as a strategic withdrawal, to a safer distance. To them, it was a sensible defensive move that would give them room to escape if the humans attacked. But to the sensors of the Terminus, 7 alien warships were simultaneously beginning attack runs on the human vessel. All alien ships are moving toward us at combat speed, Song reported urgently. They appear to be beginning a coordinated attack. Captain Choi had run out of time for diplomacy. His ship and crew were about to be attacked by 7 alien warships, and he had a duty to protect them. Red alert, he commanded. All hands to battle stations. Raise shields to maximum power. Prepare to defend the ship. The Terminus blazed to life with defensive energy as its shields reached full power and its weapon systems came online. To the alien fleet, it looked like the human monster ship was finally revealing its true nature. All ships, Ambassador Zinara transmitted desperately. The human ship is powering up to attack. Take evasive action. In the space between 2 fleets that had come hoping for peace, the final moments before disaster were counting down. Neither side wanted war, but both. The tension in space was thick enough to cut as the diplomatic shuttles from both fleets moved slowly toward each other. On board the Terminus, Technical Officer Song Junho monitored every aspect of the alien vessel's movements and energy signatures. Captain, Song reported, his voice tight with concentration. I am detecting multiple targeting systems from the alien fleet. All 7 ships now have active locks on our position. Captain Choi De-hyun felt his stomach clench. The aliens claimed to want peaceful contact, but their actions suggested they were preparing for battle. Are you certain those are weapons locks? He asked. The energy patterns match known targeting systems, sir. They are definitely tracking our ship for potential engagement. Lieutenant Park Dong-yun at the weapons station looked up from his console. Captain, should I activate our own targeting systems? Standard defensive protocols suggest we should be ready to return fire if attacked. Choi thought carefully before answering. If he activated targeting systems, the aliens would detect it immediately and might interpret it as preparation for attack. But if he did not prepare defenses and the aliens did attack, his ship and crew would be vulnerable. Passive targeting only, he decided. I want our systems ready to respond, but do not actively lock onto their ships. We do not want to escalate this situation. On the bridge of the Peaceful Dawn, Ambassador Zin Ara was dealing with similar pressures from her own crew. Captain Veltran from the Etherian ship Harmony was transmitting urgent warnings about the human vessel's behavior. Ambassador, the human ship's energy output has increased by another 20%. They appear to be charging some kind of massive weapons array. Zinara checked her own displays. The human ship was indeed radiating enormous amounts of energy, far more than any peaceful exploration vessel should need. Maybe they are just powering their communication systems for the diplomatic meeting, she said hopefully. Her tactical officer shook his head. Ambassador, with respect, those energy levels could power a small city. No communication system needs that much power. From the bridge of the Forest People's ship, Living Branch, came another worried transmission. Peaceful Dawn. We are detecting what appears to be multiple weapon charging cycles from the human vessel. Recommend we withdraw to safer distance. Hold position, Zin Ara commanded, though her own confidence was beginning to waver. We came here for peaceful contact. We will not abandon this mission because we are afraid. But privately she was, starting to think that maybe the reports about human aggression had been accurate after all. The diplomatic shuttles were now only minutes away from their meeting point. Chief Diplomat Han Minji continued her preparations for what she hoped would be humanity's first successful peaceful contact with galactic civilization. Captain, she said to Choi, I am preparing several different greeting protocols. If we can just get through the initial contact without any misunderstandings, I think we can establish real communication. What kind of protocols? Choi asked. Mathematical sequences to prove intelligence, artistic patterns to show creativity, and historical summaries to demonstrate that humanity values peace and knowledge. It was a good plan, but it was based on the assumption that both sides would remain calm long enough for real communication to begin. On the alien fleet, that assumption was beginning to break down. Commander Brixara of the crystalline ship Resonance transmitted an urgent message to all ships. All vessels, I am detecting massive energy buildups in the human ship's power core. They appear to be preparing some kind of devastating attack. Ambassador Zinara tried to maintain diplomatic calm. Commander, they may simply be powering up systems for the meeting. We should not jump to conclusions. Ambassador, came a transmission from the deep current. Our sensors indicate that the human ship has enough firepower to destroy our entire fleet. If they are planning to attack us, we need to take defensive action immediately. The fear was spreading through the alien fleet, like a virus. Each ship's crew had read the reports about human military capabilities. They knew that every species that had encountered humans had been completely destroyed. Now they were face to face with a human warship that seemed to be preparing for battle. All ships activate defensive systems, Zinara ordered reluctantly. Maintain formation, but be prepared to take evasive action if the humans attack. The moment the alien ships activated their defensive systems, every sensor on the terminus detected the change. Energy shields flickered to life around the alien vessels. Weapon systems that had been dormant suddenly showed power signatures. "Captain!" Song called urgently. "All alien ships have just activated their defensive systems. They are powering up what appear to be energy weapons." Captain Choi felt the situation slipping away from him. The aliens were clearly preparing for battle, but he still did not understand why. "Han, send an immediate message asking about their change in status." Han quickly transmitted. "Alien fleet, this is the terminus. We have detected activation of your defensive systems. Is there a problem? We are still committed to peaceful dialogue." Ambassador Zin Ara received the message and tried to craft a response that would not escalate the situation further. "Human vessel terminus, we have activated standard defensive protocols for diplomatic meetings with unknown species. There is no cause for concern." But her message only made things worse. To human ears, standard defensive protocols sounded like, "We always bring weapons to diplomatic meetings," which suggested that these aliens were not as peaceful as they claimed to be. "Captain," Lieutenant Park reported, "if they consider weapons standard for diplomatic meetings, they may be planning to attack us under the cover of negotiation." The misunderstandings were building on top of each other like a house of cards. In an earthquake. Both sides wanted peace, but both sides were interpreting the other's defensive preparations as signs of hostile intent. Technical Officer Song detected another change in the alien fleet's formation. "Sir, the alien ships are beginning to spread out. They appear to be moving into an attack formation." What Song was actually detecting was the alien fleet's attempt to take defensive positions that would allow them to escape quickly if the human ship attacked. But to human sensors, it looked like the aliens were positioning themselves for a coordinated assault on the terminus. "All stop on the shuttles," Captain Choi ordered. "Bring our diplomatic team back immediately." "Sir?" Chief Diplomat Han asked in confusion. "The aliens are moving into attack formation while pretending to want peaceful contact. This may be some kind of trap." On the alien flagship, sensors detected the human shuttles changing course and returning to their mothership. "Ambassador," the tactical officer reported, "the humans are recalling their diplomatic shuttles. They are also increasing power to their defensive systems." Ambassador Zinara felt her last hopes for peaceful contact beginning to die. "Are they preparing to attack us?" "It appears so, Ambassador. Recommend we withdraw while we still can." But Zinara was not ready to give up. "Open a direct communication channel to the human captain. I will speak to him personally." Her transmission reached Captain Choi within seconds. "Captain Choi, this is Ambassador Zinara. I sense that there has been some misunderstanding between our peoples. Can we discuss whatever concerns you may have?" Choi appreciated the ambassador's attempt at direct communication, but he was now convinced that the aliens were preparing to attack his ship. "Ambassador Zinara, my sensors indicate that your fleet has moved into attack formation and powered up weapon systems while claiming to want peaceful contact. Please explain your intentions." Zinara felt confused and frustrated. "Captain Choi, we have only activated standard defensive systems. Your vessel appears to be preparing for battle, and we are concerned for our safety." "Our defensive systems are only responding to your threatening behavior," Choi replied. "We came here hoping for peaceful contact, but you have shown us weapons instead of friendship." Both commanders were now talking past each other, each convinced that the other side was planning to attack. The communication continued for several more minutes, but instead of reducing tensions, it only made both sides more suspicious. Finally, The situation reached a breaking point when the alien fleet made what they intended as a strategic withdrawal, to a safer distance. To them, it was a sensible defensive move that would give them room to escape if the humans attacked. But to the censors of the Terminus, 7 alien warships were simultaneously beginning attack runs on the human vessel. All alien ships are moving toward us at combat speed, Song reported urgently. They appear to be beginning a coordinated attack. Captain Choi had run out of time for diplomacy. His ship and crew were about to be attacked by 7 alien warships, and he had a duty to protect them. Red alert, he commanded. All hands to battle stations. Raise shields to maximum power. Prepare to defend the ship. The Terminus blazed to life with defensive energy as its shields reached full power and its weapon systems came online. To the alien fleet, it looked like the human monster ship was finally revealing its true nature. All ships, Ambassador Zin-Ara transmitted desperately. The human ship is powering up to attack. Take evasive action. In the space between 2 fleets that had come hoping for peace, the final moments before disaster were counting down. Neither side wanted war, but both. 3 days after the disaster at Epsilon Drift, Admiral Li Kang sat in his office aboard the Indomitable, reading Captain Choi's report for the 5th time. The words never changed, but he kept hoping he would find something different in them. Some detail that would make the outcome less tragic. The door chimed, and Commander Park Hana entered, carrying a data tablet with the latest intelligence reports. Any word from the survivor? Kang asked, without looking up from Choi's report. Nothing. Yet, sir. The escape pod we detected is still moving toward what we assume is alien territory. Long-range sensors suggest it will reach its destination in approximately 4 days. Kang finally looked up from the report. 1 escape pod out of 7 ships. Over 2,000 beings dead because a frightened gunner fired a warning shot. Park sat down across from the Admiral's desk. Sir, Captain Choi followed proper defensive protocols. The aliens opened fire first. He tried to use minimal force, but their ships were not built to withstand even our lightest weapons. I know, Kang said sadly. I have read the report. I have reviewed the sensor data. I have watched the recordings of the communications between our ship and theirs. Both sides wanted peace, Hana. Both sides were trying to avoid exactly what happened. Then how did it go so wrong? Kang stood up and walked to the window that looked out into space. Fear. They were afraid of us because of stories they had heard. We were afraid of them because they were acting defensively. Fear made everyone see threats where none existed. Park looked at her own data tablet. Admiral, there is something else you should know. We intercepted another galactic communication about the incident. Show me. Park activated the tablet's holographic display, showing the translated text of an alien broadcast that had been transmitted across dozens of star systems. Emergency alert to all Galactic Council members, Park read aloud. Diplomatic contact with human forces has failed catastrophically. Ambassador Zin-Ara and her entire fleet have been destroyed by human forces. The humans attacked without warning during peaceful negotiations. All member species are advised that humans cannot be reasoned with and must be considered extremely hostile. Military response is being considered. Kang felt a familiar sick feeling in his stomach. So now the galaxy thinks we murdered a diplomatic mission in cold blood. Sir, should we try to broadcast our own version of events? Explain what really happened? Would anyone believe us, Hana? We are the ones with the surviving ship and crew. We are the ones who destroyed 7 alien vessels without taking any damage. From their perspective, we look exactly like the monsters they already thought we were. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, the lone escape pod from the diplomatic fleet was approaching the Galactic Council's emergency monitoring station. Inside the pod, Communications Officer Turkin of the Forest People ship Living Branch had spent 3 days preparing the report that would seal humanity's fate in galactic history. Turkin was young and had never experienced combat before. He had watched in horror as the human ship systematically destroyed his entire fleet with weapons that seemed impossibly powerful. To his traumatized mind, the humans had appeared to be exactly the unstoppable military force that the intelligence reports had described. His report to the Galactic Council would describe how the humans had lured the diplomatic fleet into a trap, then attacked without warning when the aliens tried to withdraw peacefully. It would tell how human weapons had disintegrated entire ships with single shots, and how the human ship had seemed undamaged by everything the alien fleet could throw at it. It would be an accurate description of what Turkin had witnessed, but it would not include the context that might have explained why everything had gone so wrong. Back on the terminus, Captain Choi Dae-hyun stood in his quarters, looking at a personal message he was preparing to send to his family on Earth. How do you explain to your loved ones that you had tried to make peace but ended up destroying thousands of innocent beings instead? Chief Diplomat Han Minji knocked on his door and entered when he called for her to come in. Captain, I have been thinking about what happened, about what we could have done differently. Choi turned away from his personal message. Any conclusions? I think the problem is deeper than just this one incident. Every